Hey filmmakers, welcome back to the channel where we break down the business of profitable film. Today I am honored to present an incredible and talented guest. His name is Nicholas aka Big Ghun. A lot of you know him as Big Ghun. Big Ghun is a Ghanaian filmmaker, director, writer and storyteller making moves in Africa in such a big way that nobody saw coming. From navigating challenges as an independent filmmaker to building impactful stories across the border, the journey is both inspiring and instructive for existing and emerging filmmakers alike. In today's episode, we'll be diving into how he brought his challenges into life despite the financial challenges he faced on his production set, realities of working with producers in diaspora, and powerful stories he learned from legal issues that changed his perspective on how he did business as a film producer. Whether you're just starting or you're knee-deep in your production, this conversation will shape how you see film production in Africa as a whole. Stay tuned, take note, and please subscribe for more real stories that talk about the experience of filmmakers on their production sets. Hi Nicholas, thank you for being on this channel. So tell us who you are and how you got into film production.
My name is Nicholas Nate. I'm known as Big Ghun in the showbiz circle, and I'm a director. Been around for a while. And I got into film after I finished film school. Once in film school, I was actually making films, but not on this scale. But I believe in creating my own world and bringing my ideas I have at the back of my mind out to the public for them to see how creative my mind works. The genesis of me becoming a filmmaker.
So what's the biggest financial risk you've ever taken on a film production, and did it actually pay off?
So the biggest financial risk is pre-financing a job that I had no security I was going to get paid. So there was a job I did for an international client from America, and they have no office in Ghana and they have no rep in Ghana. We're working through emails, and I had to pre-finance the job, and the job was quite expensive. Yeah, I think at that time it was $10,000. Yeah, and I pre-financed the entire job. I did it, and I didn't know how to reach them because all the channels I knew to reach them was not really working. It took quite a while. A couple of threats and a couple of lawyers came in, and it paid off.
Bold step for you to start a project even without finances. So today we'll talk about how you went into film and how you started into film, and how do you develop your story idea, and at what point do you know that this story is worth developing?
So growing up, I've been feeding myself a lot of international content because I believe global is the skill. So I watch a lot of global content. I try to localize them. So when you really watch the works I do, there's a touch of global feel with a blend of what we have here that we can achieve with what we can afford. Yeah. So I try to localize a lot of things I see globally. And also there's a word in my mind, which I try to bring out from time to time. A little part of my brain, a little part of influence from the world. So in all, I'll say the word influences my thoughts and the projects I bring out.
Well, that's good to know that you combine inspiration from everywhere in the world. So now this brings us to another question. So have you ever walked away from any idea because you thought it wasn't viable for your production company or your audience?
Yes, I think I did walk away from an international project where I had to showcase some unpleasant part of Ghana, and watching me and me being the one to direct them to those unpleasant things that will take people's mind, I will influence people's mind about the way they see our country. I didn't think that was a good thing. So I had to decline the offer. Somebody else did it, but I'm proud I wasn't the one to put such images out about my country.
I'm happy and glad you just said that you were supposed to be involved in a story that was meant to spotlight Ghana in a very negative way, and you actually denied the production. Which brings me to another question is, so what early mistakes do emerging filmmakers make when they're about to change the storyline? From what you have just said now, if you had taken that idea, or if you had wanted to go into that production, I'm sure one way or another you would have pitched to them that you wanted to change the storyline. So what emerging mistakes, or what early mistakes do emerging producers make when they have to change the storyline in a situation where they are faced?
So the early mistakes filmmakers make is there are stages in story writing, in idea creation. Okay, we have passion projects and we have commercial projects. Okay, commercial projects are projects that you do to show your creativity and your creative prowess, but then you are open to adjust and change to suit the investor or the financier. But a passion project is a project that is so dear to you. You don't even care about how big it gets, how far it goes, but you just want to tell a particular story the way you saw it in your mind. And that's the problem I see with a lot of young filmmakers. They put their passion projects out there and they expect the people to give them money to produce without having influence on the project. So they end up having a lot of friction between them. And that's a mistake I don't think anyone should do. At the early stage of filmmaking, you will be hungry, you are going to be starving, you will need opportunities. That's not when to put your passion projects out there. That's when to put your commercial projects out there. It's going to be tempered a little bit by the financiers, but the aim is to get your name out there. When you make enough money, you can finance your own passion projects, and that will come with no friction. It'll make you feel more fulfilled.
So another question I'd like to ask that, do you secure your rights first from like a book, life story or article, or you test your concept's viability? Which one or what way do you?
I've tested concept viability one time. There's a project that I was doing called Cut and Shave. I shot a pilot for it. I never really got sponsorship for it, so I discontinued it. Imagine if I really shot it on a bigger scale. It would have done well. Maybe would have not done well. But in that conversation of testing, I think I've done that before. And even the current film I'm producing, the testing phase is the online short ones we'll be releasing to see whether the fans will love it. And the testing phase has been successful. That's how I was able to actually go all out in investing in a big project that I'm about to release. So I actually test things in a small scale before I expand it.
He makes any podcast or any content, he shares it out to his followers and sees the kind of reception he gets from it. So if he gets a loud audience, like people commenting on it, he goes and makes the podcast. So this brings us to another question that I have. Can you share a story about a film you passed on that someone else later made but eventually blew up real big, and did you feel bad that I wasn't part of that production? I didn't accept that production.
I've not passed on a project somebody have made that have blew up. If he has potential to blow up, trust me, I will know. I wouldn't pass on a good project.
So that means you are so very sure of yourself. That's a good one. Like you having the confidence to know when a story will blow up or not. So another question I might have, because when I was starting, I did not even know if your story was going to blow up or not. I started knowing with time when I started growing in the production space. So it's very good that you even realize and know when a story is going to blow up, is going to be commercially viable. So another question I might have for you is like, how do you move from concept to treatment of your script? Do you self-fund or you seek development grant? Because I know in the developed world, most people seek for development grant. They don't self-fund. But it's a different conversation here in Africa. So how do you do it for your own production?
I'll be glad and I wish I get a development grant. I've been working on a couple of development grants. I've never really gotten one. I mean, if they're watching, I'm hoping to getting grants for some awesome projects at every stage. And if you know how to actually get me those grants, I'll be excited. I mean, it could guide me through it. But so far, I self-finance almost everything I do. And especially with the pre-production, from the part of what we are in, it's quite difficult to get somebody to invest in just a concept. Sometimes they want to see you start it, see it close to working, then they come in. So it's mostly my money and family and friends and self-funded. Yeah.
So yes, I'm willing to work with you on this. When it comes to you applying for development grants, so it depends on what stage you are on. Like we said, development grants, they're specific. There's specific organizations that give for people that are not resident in a particular country, because if you are not resident in a particular country abroad or outside Africa, you might not get some particular grant. But there are some that give grants to Africans, Black people outside the particular, so we can work on it together. So that now another question, but it's quite a lot that you have to like self-fund, which is a lot from what I have seen. It's not just only you. A lot of filmmakers in Africa have to self-fund their project, which also has its own advantage. If you think of it, you don't have to wait for someone to greenlit your idea, which abroad, that's one of the issues like that is coming up right now. They have to wait for big studios to greenlit because most of the big studios are the ones that actually give you grants and give you some funding for your development stage, apart from tax credits that you have to benefit from, and also some association and provinces that also all give. So another question I have is, what role does your business plan or pitch deck play in raising development money? Assuming you have the opportunity for someone to invest and give you development money, what does the business plan or pitch deck do? Because it also like supports your documentation when you are applying for development fund.
Pitch decks are quite important. I don't think young filmmakers know the importance of pitch decks. Like, it's easy for people to, it's not easy for them to see what you see at the back of your mind. Like, it's quite difficult because you're the only one that gets the vision. Somebody might get something closer to what you are seeing, but for them to understand what you really want to put across, you need a pitch document. I think a lot of old filmmakers use pitch document, but the young filmmakers, because of AI and all that, they don't see the use of pitch documents. I think it's very important. So from your look and feel, from your target audience, all these things, they help people to understand your vision, and if they will benefit from whatever you have to give the world, that's at that stage, or with that document, you get sponsorship quite easily.
Like you said, a lot of emerging filmmakers do not know the importance of pitch deck. Even if there is AI, you can actually use AI to develop your pitch deck. Yes. When you put in specific prompts saying this is what you want to do. And that's why as the world is evolving now, AI is coming, like it's taking over in some particular sectors, in some particular departments. When it comes to film, you can use that benefit of AI to actually create your pitch deck. So we have more questions that we have to ask. So I would ask a 2-in-1 question. So have you used soft money, grants, or private investors for early stage development? And what's the first dollar you've ever made or raised for a film, and how did you get it? Because a lot of emerging producers would like to know how you were able to raise your first money.
Yeah, I've gotten private investment for my project before, but it's not really for early stage like scripting, mostly for the entire project. With the combos of grants and all that, I mean, I'm here to get one. So my first dollar I raised for my film was at $1,000. I raised for a short film I made. Yeah, and that one, I was shooting commercials, so I actually saved up a little bit to almost like 90%. I got like 10% from family, and that's how I made my first short film, which actually got me my first AMVCA nomination.
Okay, so your first short film got you your AMVCA nomination. That's very good. That means your short film must be very, very good for you to be nominated at the AMVCA. So now let's talk about you working with your team and how you have a structure that works for you, because a lot of people do not even understand that they need a structure. Even if you're even starting as an emerging producer, you need to like call friends, work with your network, even if they don't even know what to do. Because of you, they can actually learn what to do to make sure your production is a success, especially for someone that is just starting. So how do you choose your line producer or production manager, and how do you budget at your early stage of production, and what are the biggest hidden costs that you've ever experienced on any production set?
So production manager, line producer, these are all people I've worked with. People have seen their work that I have a good relationship with, because I believe in vibe, I believe in connection. So if you're good and I have a good connection with you, it's likely I'm going to be working with you very soon, or I'm already working with you. You might be good, but if your communication skills or your relationship with me is not so strong, I might not use you for a line producer. Miscellaneous, like my budgeting is quite straightforward. I budget for crew, I budget for cast, I budget for equipment, I budget for location, I budget for special equipment, cymbals, light, frames. I budget for transportation, budget for food, water, drinks, very important. But one thing that if you don't take really close attention to, you might miss, is miscellaneous. People don't budget for miscellaneous. They don't even know what it means. So miscellaneous is hidden costs that you don't expect, costs that might happen on the production that you didn't even expect them to happen. Productions are not smooth. Productions are always unexpected. Things happen, things you don't actually expect to happen. It could rain, somebody could get hurt, something new could happen, somebody might delay, something might extend the production to another day, something might cost you extra money, somebody might forget something in the house you must go and bring. You must get an Uber to go somewhere far that you didn't expect to get. These are things that you don't calculate, you don't actually expect. So always, I actually have enough money for miscellaneous. Even when I call it enough, sometimes I actually fail. So I think that's one hidden cost nobody actually pays attention to.
When you are working on your projects for production, you have to be very intentional about it. You need to work with your accountant, your production manager. You need to work with your line producer. But a lot of people just sit down and just say, oh, let me just put this together in as much as eating on set, in as much as this. And before you know it, you get stuck halfway in your production, which is not even fair to you. It is not fair to your cast and crew. It is not fair to anybody, because at the end of the day, you might not even have enough money to pay them. Do you register a new company per film or run through one legal entity? Is that what you do?
I honestly don't think anybody register a film with a company all the time. Otherwise, you end up having 100 companies, 100 films. So I've had one company from the inception of my film career. And that's PB Studios Africa, and that's the company I've been using throughout my entire project.
Do you offer equity or deferred payment deals earlier on in your production or at a point in a certain stage of production?
I've always paid people in full, because I've never really understood how to market my film really well. And if the channel is not really clear on marketing, I can't promise you anything. So I rather pay you and I carry the entire costs, the entire risk, because I wouldn't like to carry my risk with you. I don't think that's responsible of me. As time goes on, having grip of the entire film industry, knowing how to market my film, having some security on the people that might help me push my film, me knowing where to take my film to, I'm beginning to consider equity, because I clearly know that I will make some money back from the project, and it's no more a risk.
Do you want to tell us about the time your budget fell short in pre-production, and what did you cut or change when it happened that way?
So my current film I'm making is almost done. I'm done shooting, so post-production is almost done. Vibes the movie, I did a good budget. I knew I did a good budget. 4 days into the production, out of 7 days, my budget got finished and I was hot. So lo and behold, I have good people in my circle, people who I can actually call on to. They will cough some good money out for me. Some might be loans, some might be gifts. So that was the time that relationships and friends and the circle became very important. It happened to me just recently. I knew I did a good budget, but once again, miscellaneous. Then my miscellaneous was quite too small, and that's how I almost failed.
How do you manage payroll and crew contracts during active shooting?
Managing payroll and crew and cast, that's very important. You see, like any other office, everybody is paid separately, everybody's paid differently. Some are paid more, some are paid less. It does not mean those who are paid more are paid because their service is quite important than some people. Some have a good relationship with you. Some want to even work for free because they know what the benefits from you. So I try not to blend, not to make anybody's payments overlap or get into anybody's space. I pay everybody independently. I bargain with everyone independently. And mostly I pay in full, just so I might not have issue with you when I'm done with the production and I don't have the funding to pay the rest of the money. Like I said, sometimes miscellaneous might mess you up, and you end up owing somebody some money that will take a long time to pay. And that's quite embarrassing and very unprofessional. So that's how I handle my payments of my cast and crew.
Most times I tell people, don't stress yourself about payroll. That's why you have your production manager, you have a producer. That's if you're a director, and you have your accountant. And prior to that, I expect that your production coordinator must have also dropped in documents or received or gathered documents for payroll. So it shouldn't be difficult if you have a structured production company or a production entity. How do you budget for editing, music rights, VFX, color grading, and sound? And another thing I would like to tie with that question is, do you typically raise new funds at this stage of post-production or reserve part of your initial funding?
So I have an industry standard for how much I pay for those things. But also I call the entire crew, including post-production crew, I call everybody and get their rates. throughout the duration of production. And that forms the entire budget. So I don't pay everybody separately. I pay everybody according to the money we agreed on phone or in person before the production itself starts. And that's how I come up with the entire production budget. So I pay them, we bargain, it's actually something that will make you comfortable. I don't assume your budget before I come to you with a job. So I reserve part of initial funding for post-production because I consider, mostly when I'm doing my production, a budget for pre-production and production. I don't normally budget for. I don't have a special budget for posts. I merge the post-production and production as one entire budget. So when I'm paying people for production, I've already paid for post-production because I don't want to finish the project and the project will be sitting on my laptop because I don't have money to do color grading. So I pay everyone even before the production starts. That way I can clearly tell you it's a 2 weeks production and it's clearly a 2 weeks production. Because I knew 1 week is for production, 1 week is for post because I've spoken to everybody already, paid everyone already, and I wouldn't be falling short.
It's good to know that you actually pay people in different positions in post-production and you've already budgeted for it earlier on, which is something that is very wise to do. You need to know how much your post-production will be so that your production is not just sitting down on your shelf at the end of your production stage. So do you use sales agents or use direct to platform or platform aggregators? Because I know a lot of people use different people when it comes to their production depending on what they desire. So which one of them would you be using?
So I think my last project, I did direct to platforms because I knew people who work with these companies, these VODs, and I met some of them personally at industry functions, and there are some too I met through LinkedIn. But with my current project, I'm looking at using aggregators because I'm trying to cut off too much of the work just so I could divide the labor, just so I could concentrate on other like means of marketing. So I'll prefer an aggregator now, just to make the job quite easy.
What's the most profitable project you've ever worked on, and what made the difference for you?
Most profitable, I think a documentary I did in Europe. I think it's one of my most profitable projects because it was a one-man production and there wasn't a lot of crew to be paid. I was a crew. I did a pre-production alone and post-production. It wasn't the most easiest job I ever did because I did like a job meant for a whole village alone because film is shot by a whole village. I did all by myself and it was a very tough grounds for me to work. But I think it paid me the most.
What's the worst deal you've ever signed in your film career, if there is any?
My film career, I haven't signed the worst deal. I've signed other deals in other parts of my life, but not my film career. I'm quite careful and I try to employ the eyes of other serious people who understand contracts when I'm actually working with contracts. So maybe I'm here to sign a very terrible deal, but so far so good.
So as a filmmaker, how did you fund your first project? And would you rather do or own 100% of a shot that nobody sees or 20% of a breakout hit?
Family and friends. Filmmakers, your first project should be family and friends. If you go for a loan and you fail, dead. 20% of a breakout hit. If I have a film that makes a profit of $1 million and I get 20%, that's 200,000. What's the sense in having 100% of a project that nobody sees? I'm sure every young filmmaker have 100% of a project in their room on your laptop. It doesn't make you grow.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, for being on interview today and this week. And thank you to our subscribers for emerging and existing producers and those that want any of their family and friends to also learn about film. We would appreciate if you can subscribe, share, like, and also tell people about our channel where we discuss business behind profitable films from experienced filmmakers and storytellers. Thank you very much. Have a nice week. See you soon.